Welcome back to Battalion Wars. It's time for the final two missions of the game. We've got an extremely difficult mission involving the Iron Legion, and a very easy mission involving regular Exylvania. But I noticed something about this map that I had not ever considered before the making of this video. Do you see those green parts of the map and the red part of the map that we were in a couple missions ago? Those actually belong to the Frontier and Tundra, respectively. Remember how Vlad was complaining about, oh, Exylvania is the playground of frontier warmongers, etc. Well, now you know. The parts of the map there belong to them. So that explains it.
Commander, the Iron Legion are indiscriminately attacking all who stand in their way. The latest intelligence reports suggest that the crater of the sun may be this monstrous army's point of origin.
There are 2 Solar Empire fighters being held on the mountainside, Colonel. If you liberate them, they will provide you with air cover.
Advance to the crater, but stay alert for remnants of the Exylvanian army. The Legion may have them on the run, but they can still fight.
This is another mission that is an extreme nightmare if you're trying to S-rank it for the first time. I'm actually not sure how the scoring system behaves here, but hey, I figure as long as I just do my best, I can just try it over and over and over again until I get a solid strategy for clearing the first part of the mission without losing anybody. Like right here, for instance. Here, I just run over most of the Exylvanian grunts here. They're being chased down by a couple of Legion gunships. My anti-airs can handle that pretty effectively on their own, though. So let's get to work on these heavy tanks here. Oh yeah, one last little line by Ubel here. And he's actually getting a shot in the final scene, so that's not a whole lot of Ubel, but it's enough to satisfy me personally. You know, since we're so late in the game at all. Now these heavy tanks, I've mentioned that I feel like the Legion units take more hits to destroy than yours do. I am not 100% on that. I happen to know, and it's rather late in the game to mention this, but I happen to know that the unit that you personally are controlling gets a little power bonus for no real reason. You can erase that with mods, and I do intend to mod this game and Battalion Wars 2. Particularly the Battalion Wars 2, since I'm moving on to that game afterwards, but I digress. The POW camp is being guarded by a couple of bazooka veterans. Now, I personally do not know why this POW camp is even here. I mean, first of all, the Solar Empire's fighters got captured. And ouch, that hurt. Now, how do you get fighters captured again? It's the same thing as with the Frontier fighters a couple of missions ago. But this time, we have the Legion, who are very ruthless, or at least they've been shown to be ruthless, and they're taking prisoners. I always thought of the Legion as a take-no-prisoners type. This is the only time the Legion ever takes prisoners in either of the two games, but I suppose that's because there's no real map in the second game where the Legion are the enemy, so yeah, I don't know. There are 2 paths into the crater here. They're both being guarded by a couple of bazooka veterans and heavy tanks. But you don't have to actually destroy the units on both sides for 100% power, which is a nice little touch there. I mean, if you had to, like, take all of the time to destroy all of the units that are displayed on the map, well, first you'd have the respawning gunships to deal with. Yes, those make a return here. And then you'd have to take all of that time destroying all of the enemies. So that would ruin your speed ranking, making you choose between speed and power, but thankfully that's not an issue, and I'm just rambling about it because there's about 30 seconds or so until I actually get into the crater. Oh yeah, and the Solar Empire fighters we freed are handling most of the gunships, but, you know, we have our anti-airs for that. So that's a thing too. There are also some gunships that are going to fly out of the crater and start shooting. But I'm going to hit one with my heavy tank shells because why not? So, you have to destroy the cenotaph, which I've never heard that word before. I guess it's some sort of monument to the Legion or something. but it's being shielded by these 4 obelisks. So you know what that means. You gotta destroy them. Now, the Legion isn't going to just let you walk right over them. I mean, I know that grunt there, or actually it's a bazooka veteran. That bazooka veteran there was doing absolutely nothing to shoot at me. But as soon as you walk in, they're called bazookas, Ingrid, not rockets. Get it right. Anyhow, a bunch of units just spawn out of thin air. I guess they're rising up out of their graves in order to shoot at you. Now, the annoying part is that a bunch of heavy tanks are going to spawn in eventually, either after enough time has passed, or if you've destroyed all of the obelisks. And the heavy tanks are the worst part here. Possibly because I've driven in here with just my 1 heavy tank, so 1 heavy tank isn't going to do a spectacular job against multiples of them, and there it goes already. Okay, I will drive for a while, little grunt. There's only 1 obelisk left. Oh look, more gunships. But hey, we don't have to worry about them this time because more Solar Empire fighters are going to come in. You should have sent those in from the start, Empress. I mean, seriously, the Legion doesn't have a single anti-air unit. Like, at all. So, we should just bring in our air units. You know? I don't see any Frontier bombers or Solar Empire fighters before now. But then again, that you'd have to be really savvy to know that there are no Legion anti-air units. I mean, one of them could have spawned as soon as we got in here. If they had bothered to model it. Again, the only reason the Legion doesn't really have any anti-air unit is because they never modeled one. So, it's obviously not going to spawn if they never modeled it. That's also the reason there aren't very many Legion units to speak of. I mean, there's no Legion light tank, etc., etc., etc. I'm rambling. We're supposed to blow up the Cenotaph now. It takes a lot of hits, but if you have your entire battalion shooting it down, assuming your battalion still exists, then it should go down fairly quickly. Yeah, there we go. I've lost a couple of units.
You did it, Commander. You closed the portal and put an end to the menace of the Legion. I think we can turn the page on this chapter of the conflict.
The Countess waits for me at the cenotaph. This is not your fight, Colonel.
You made a grave error in coming here, Empress.
It was my destiny. I could not choose otherwise.
You're alive!
The overconfident adversary can be your greatest ally. Come, we have work to do.
Okay, what even was the point of that cutscene? I mean, like, the only real reason that scene is there is to kill Ingrid, so she can't appear in the sequel, which is a crying shame, because every time a character gets killed off, you can never see any more of that character, and it's not like Ingrid was... like, she was overexposed in this game, I think, so I guess we're getting a lot more Ooble in the sequel. Anyhow, it's time for the final mission. You know, I have a feeling that they should have, like, closed down the game with an Iron Legion battle instead of a final scrap with Vlad. I mean, the Legion is supposed to be tougher than Exylvania, so... you know what? I don't care anymore. This is the final mission of the game. Let's just get it over with.
We have the Kaiser and his cronies trapped in the Vladstag. He has nowhere else to run.
Your job is to storm the barricades before the Kaiser can hatch some kind of devious escape plan.
I'm deploying gunships to provide support. Let's finish this so that I can revenge myself on the Kaiser.
We have to breach each of the 3 outer walls before we can launch our final assault on Vlad's stronghold.
This isn't going to be an easy final mission. I mean, its difficulty is significantly lower than the previous 2 levels, but, you know, there are some hard parts to it. Obviously not this first part, since it's just a bunch of acid gas units. We know how to deal with those. Run them over! There are some Tundran grunts providing fire support. Finally! I mean, it took Tundra long enough to do something actually helpful in one of your missions. But I suppose it's better late than never, because they have gunships, too. Those will be helpful. Better make sure that they don't get destroyed. Dealing with pillboxes in this level, however, is a lot harder than before, since you don't have a battle station. There are also artilleries firing at you from the other side of this wall. And a bomber. There's a lot of stuff to deal with at once. But we have missile veterans, so that shouldn't be much of an issue. Take control of each capture point in order to open the gate. And, oh wow, my light tank was just about to flip onto its back there. I love it when that happens. That's one of the great things about artillery. They do silly things like that. While they're capturing that capture point, it's time to attempt to destroy this pillbox, but the hill is in the way of the light tank shot, so I have to get up close and personal. Maybe my mortar veterans can add a little bit of damage. Let's see here. Mortar veterans, missile veterans, and light tanks. They really don't want us to lose. But you've got to have a healthy battalion by the end of the level, or else it's going to be impossible to win. Like, literally impossible. We'll see what I mean by that later on. In the meantime, it's time to advance past the first gate. It's going to take my tank a while to get there. But at least the mortar veterans are clearing out these rifle grunts and rocket units. You can also destroy the artilleries here, which I do recommend. Well, obviously destroying artillery is a good thing, but these are the only source of refueling that your tanks have for a good portion of the level, so try not to let your tank get hit too much. I'm unsure if the bomber's fuel can that it drops will fall to the ground, and if it doesn't, at least one of the gunships can take it. Gunships mostly focus on destroying pillboxes, which is a great help. Thanks, Tundra. At least you were helpful enough to be helpful in the final level. I mean, that's better than nothing, right? Not much to the second capture point here. Just be aware that they have pillboxes mounted on just about anything. High cliffs, walls. You could probably destroy one of the pillboxes that is meant for the next area before you actually pass this gate, which is also helpful. Now, I have no idea why the Tundran grunts can't raise their flag at the capture point, or like give them a hand raising it, but they aren't under your direct command, so I never questioned it. Way to go, Chief. We have taken the second wall, and soon we shall take down the fourth wall. I've been waiting all game for that one. Hey, look, another bomber. I'm pretty sure the oh yeah, I forgot. The bomber in this level respawns. They love doing that with their air units, apparently. Gunship versus bomber is also a decent matchup, so that's helpful as well, but I think the gunships are focused on ground units more than they are the air units. How is my battalion surviving all of this gunfire? It's amazing. More importantly, why can't my tank actually shoot? There we go. That's better. Oh yeah, and you also get reinforcements after you pass the second wall. Third gate down. Now it's time for the Now it's time for the big one. I have no idea why it's your last chance, according to Betty here. I mean, like, you know, we've come so far, and apparently losing a single fight means an automatic game over for, like, everything. I mean, the war is going to continue if you lose, predictably. So, I don't know. Come on, shoot the searchlights. I have no idea what searchlights actually do, but shoot them! More gunships get sent in here. However, the enemy has anti-air vehicles inside this fortress here. But they've got another big surprise in store for us. Hey, look, a battle station! Hey, look, another battle station! 2 battle stations guarding the fort entrance. That is an awesome way to end this mission. It's going to be very difficult to actually take them down because look how much damage the light cannon is doing there. So instead of trying to take them out, let's run right past them, yeah! You gotta take out those anti-air vehicles so that the gunships can handle the battle station. Now I just gotta find the anti-air unit. There it is! Let's get rid of it. Down it goes. I bet those battle stations are probably going to destroy most of my infantry. Now, I do get shot a lot here, and I'm actually on fire, but I saved myself by grabbing the fuel can there. That was awesome. This mission just turned out so excellent in the end. Now, this fortress, in order to win the game, you have to take down both capture points at the same time. Your flag has to be flying in both capture points in order for it to count as a victory. The annoying part is, however, that in addition to the respawning bomber, of course, rifle grunts spawn from the fortress and they will attempt to re-raise their own flag. So you've got to not only take the capture points, but you've got to protect them long enough so that both can be raised at once. Now my infantry are working on the capture points as we speak, so soon enough, this should be over in a couple of seconds. Oh, thanks you guys, you couldn't wait until the battle station was destroyed. You had to raise your flag, thus triggering the battle station's invulnerability frames because the mission is technically over now. Lovely. I can see that one of the gunships is nearly destroyed, it's smoking right now. But hey, there you go. An epic final mission, in my opinion. And now the ending.
I never dreamed I would live to see this day.
Sometimes discretion is the better part of valor, Übel.
I owe you a debt of vengeance, Commandant. That was for Tun. And this is for my father.
Hold it right there, Buster.
So you think this tournament is over? You forget. You play against a Grandmaster. Your move, Generals.
Let him go, Nova.
You are right, Betty. But if I learned one thing from my father, it was this. He who seeks peace should be prepared for war.
And that's the end. No credits, just my final S rank. The game doesn't show you the credits after the end of the game because the credits are kind of in the menu screen as an option. So, let's view them right now. We can see that Satoru Iwata was exec producer here. So, that is Battalion Wars for the GameCube, one of the classic underdog GameCube titles in my opinion. It did a pretty good job taking Advance Wars and sort of making it into an RTS type thing. Although, I feel that it kind of doesn't have a few things that Advance Wars has. I mean, like, that should be obvious because this is a completely different genre of game, but it's not as deep as Advance Wars I mean, obviously COs don't mean anything, but since you have the same units in every mission, like you always have the same battalion, you can't really choose what units you take into each level. I feel that that kind of takes away from the replay value a bit, because you can't, you know, oh hey, let's try doing that last mission but with a single heavy tank, or let's use it with a solo battles, do it with a solo battle station. You know, just little odd challenges like that are what keeps Advanced Wars fresh for me, even though I do get sick of playing it after like hundreds and hundreds of hours. Also, due to the way that HUD works, I don't think that they really had multiplayer in mind for this game. Split screen would be kind of hectic, so I guess they never thought to include that, but multiplayer for this game would be very nice. And the sequel has that too, so that's pretty good. I don't know if they would ever, like, I don't know how easy or hard it would be to make a level editor for this game. I mean, like, if Kuju were to actually make a sequel and do a level editor for this, but, you know, level editors, they really add to the replay value if they're done correctly, and I'm only complaining about the replay value so much because after 24 missions, the game, after S-ranking all the missions, I have no reason to play this game anymore. Unless I want to, like, get perfect 100s, and, like, who wants to get perfect 100s, man? I mean, you know, people got perfect 100s in Advanced Wars, but it's much easier to do that in Advanced Wars. Battalion Wars, one of the things it has over Advanced Wars, in my opinion, is that it's more hectic, it's more unpredictable, because, you know, and, you know, maybe that's a bad thing to the score runners, but you know, each game has its own merits in the end, but I still feel that there could be a little more depth to Battalion Wars, and the sequel kind of helps things, but not entirely. I mean, I have a few complaints about the sequel, which we will get to. So, until that time, I'm Efren225. This has been yet another Let's Play, and I will see you next time for Battalion Wars 2. The credits just repeat.